Hi, I'm Elizabeth Gearhart. I'm here with Hans Hanson, who has the company mycollegelogic.com and very interesting advice for parents. So Hans, tell us what you do.
Well, great. It's great to be here, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me. So I created College Logic a long time ago, back around 2004, 2005, because all I heard were people complaining about nobody helping them. And I woke up one day and I said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life teaching young people how to take ownership of their life. I'm going to use college as the platform. It's the platform, it's the transitional bridge that takes a person from being a kid slash teenager to becoming a young adult. I got tired of hearing people complaining all the time that things didn't work out for them because other people didn't take care of things for them. I teach people how to take care of it themselves. And so I'm teaching kids valuable life skills at a young age. Of course, I do all the work, college search, college visit planning, applications, essays, scholarship negotiations, all these things, choosing the right college, choosing the right major, and working with kids to have an on-time, meaningful degree. Getting all of that without breaking the family bank. That's my pledge to the family. So in total, that's what I do.
And I think that that's necessary for a lot of people. We were discussing earlier how we each have two children who graduated from college, and the experiences that we went through, we had a little bit of support from the high school that my kids went to, but we did a lot of it ourselves, and it turned out. I think you provide a very valuable service. It would have been nice to have been able to talk to you back then.
Well, Elizabeth, I teach the college perspective. I know it. I've been on dozens of campuses. I've met many of the key decision makers. I know the college perspective. I know what's going on behind the closed doors. Now, they may emerge from the closed doors and give a statement. I can interpret that statement. I know what they're talking about behind. You can't win this from the parent perspective or from the high school perspective. You have to understand the college perspective. You have to understand that they are a business. They are selling educational services. Us parents, we're actually the customers. They will never allow us to feel that way, but we are. We have to make sure we get what we want. They own the power position. My job is to convert that power position onto us. Take it away from the college, put it onto us. So I have all the types of strategies in which we take back the power position.
And what are some of those strategies?
Well, number one is to understand how they do business. So when you meet them, it's not, oh, how you doing? I'm doing fine, this and that. No, it's I have questions. Besides GPA and SAT scores, what do you value in applicants? What is your maximum scholarship in which you can offer? When they say $25,000, we say, good, because that's what we're going to get. What does it take for us to get the maximum scholarship that you can offer? See, most people don't know that every admission counselor has a maximum. We have to find out what that maximum is and what does it take. And they need to know we're not coming there unless we get the maximum. Then we go into the Department of Studies. Only 1 out of 10,000 college visitors go over and meet the Department of Study. Why not? Because, oh, they don't know. We don't know what our daughter or our son wants to study. Well, you're on a college campus. Why don't you go find out? So I have my students go to the anticipated Department of Study with 15 questions, all pre-scripted. What is your 4-year graduation rate out of this department? What jobs do your graduates get? What pay do they get? What do you do along the way? In other words, how do we achieve our desired outcome, which is a job? What do you do to help? How can my child interact with you so that we get the internships and the job offers at the end? See, parents go into this process without thinking about the end game. It's like buying a house without ever thinking about how you might sell it one day. When people visit colleges and they don't meet these people, they're buying a house without doing any inspections. They're just buying it because, oh, it looks great. Oh, look at the football stadium. Look at the dorms. Look at the cafeterias. Elizabeth, colleges have spent the last 20 years investing in student appeal, not in satisfying parents' desires for outcomes. It's no accident that about 80% of the last 5-year graduates are either unemployed or working in a job that doesn't require a college education. It's no accident. I have to change that. I have to get people early on looking at desired outcomes. I'm not saying kids have to know when they're 17 what they want to do for the rest of their life. Obviously, they don't need to know that. But they do need to have a passion and an interest, and they need to have a vision for the future and an ability to express it. My job is to dig deep down into them and pull that out, because parents will not do that.
Well, I do wish we had talked to you so I can share a little of my son's story and my daughter's story. So my son was very competitive and got very good grades, played football for 4 years in high school, and got into almost all the colleges that he applied to that he was really interested in. And we visited and visited and visited. And as I told you before, when we got down to Virginia Tech, we went in the back way, and the first thing we saw was the football stadium. and he was pretty much sold at that point. And he wasn't sure what he wanted to major, and I suggested math for him because he was very good at math, but he didn't really like it. So he went into biochemistry. And when he graduated in 4.5 years, now he had a good time at Virginia Tech, but he also got good grades. But you know, Virginia Tech. So anyway, when he did graduate, he did get a job on his own. He didn't either access the resources Virginia Tech had or didn't know about them or something, but he came and lived at home with my husband and myself for a couple months, and then got a job himself,
Good.
LinkedIn. But he wasn't making hardly any money. So he went back to school, because had been bothering him for a long time to get the computer science piece, which he never listened to me until he couldn't make any money with the biochem piece alone. So he went back and got the computer science piece, got bioinformatics, master's at Johns Hopkins while he was working, and more than doubled his salary. But what if we had talked to you in the beginning? So, and he loves the computer science piece. He loves doing websites. He loves programming. So, and he didn't know that. And I had tried to talk him into taking classes in that, and he wouldn't do it. So what if we had talked to you from the beginning? What would you have advised him?
Well, no matter what, I will ask why. And there's always 3 levels of why. There's a surface level why, a mid-level why, and then a deep internal core reason why. In his case, during that time, nobody ever accessed, not even him, his deep internal core reasons. I have to do that. When I get to that deep internal core reason, parents cannot do it. I can't do it with my kids, and neither can you, Elizabeth, so no problem with that. You didn't do anything wrong there. But when I'm working with kids and we've built the trust, and I can ask and ask and ask, and they will dig into their own deep level of emotion and bring it out. They have to have compelling reasons why. A football stadium is not a compelling reason why. One of my students, of whom I worked with, at the end, she just wanted to go to University of Alabama, and she lives in Connecticut, and I disagreed. And guess what, Elizabeth? They dropped her off there 2 weeks ago, and they're bringing her back right now. They're driving back right now. They're on their way back right now.
Talk about a huge culture shock.
Yes. Yeah. No fit at all, which I said, there's no way she can fit down into that culture. So there's no compelling reason why. These kids, in your son's case, I would say, what's the compelling reason why for biochemistry or this or that? I mean, really, what is it that you want out of that? And he might say, well, I don't know. I'm good at it. Well, I'm good at those studies. Well, that's a surface level why. So we have to do activities during the last year or two of high school. And then the summers, you got to take like summer class between sophomore and junior year, a couple summer classes that that you can see of whether or not you like this subject. So there are a lot of things that we can do to get kids engaged and in touch with their deep internal feelings. And when they do, wonderful things come out.
And I think that would have been important. So just as an FYI, my husband and I are both chemists. Well, he's an attorney now. I have a doctorate in analytical chemistry. He has a bachelor's in chemistry. So I feel like both my kids felt like they were kind of forced to go the science route. And maybe it wasn't the right fit. I mean, he loves what he's doing now, and he was good at the biochemistry, but maybe we put a little too much on him about the science. And
that's the parent tendency. So it's hard for parents to look at their kids as totally unique individuals. Rather, parents always impose our beliefs, our desires for them onto them. And we don't ever create the space.
Right.
So they feel free to explore these things on their own. That doesn't mean we want them to decide that they just want to play video games all night long. We're not condoning any of that. We're trying to find out, in one of my family's cases, where the mom was sure that her son should go to UPenn and wind up on Wall Street. As it turns out, the best place for him was Drexel, right next door, in which he is studying video gaming programming.
Well, that's what I was going to say when you brought up video games. You know, some of those gamers make a lot of money.
Right. So if their passion is to understand the business of this, which is huge, and in need, then it's great. If they do it because they just like to play, that's no good. It's just like an athlete who loves athletics, has hurt their knee a couple times, been in to physical therapy 5 times so far in their life. They go, wow, this is pretty cool. Look at this. Physical therapy, wouldn't this be a great profession? Here's the rule of thumb, Elizabeth. As long as they're an athlete, they feel like they would like to stay in athletics. Physical therapy provides for that. As soon as they're done playing, they don't have any more interest in that. So I can't let them just go down this path of physical therapy because they're an athlete. I can let them go down the physical therapy path if they love the biological sciences, how the body works, and you really have a passion for helping people feel better. Not because you love to play, but because you have a passion for helping people feel better. Same thing with the video gaming. You have to have a passion for the business of it, not because you just like to play.
Right. So I think finding that passion in the kids and exposing them to different things. And we looked at Drexel for my daughter. I don't know if she could have gotten in there. That's a very good school, but they have really interesting programs with the way they structure their internships and things.
The co-op, it's a great school for getting jobs. It's a job creation machine. Northeastern is a job creation machine. When I get interviewed often, Elizabeth, people ask me, well, if I was getting ready to go to college, where would I go? And I say, and they say, you can go anywhere you want. I go, I would go to Northeastern. They go, Northeastern, you could go to Stanford, you could go to Yale, you're going to go to Northeastern? Yes, because they have a co-op program designed to get a job. I want a job. Mm-hmm. That's my purpose, my individual purpose for going to college is to be prepared and qualified to get a job and to get paid well.
Right. So, and then with my daughter, I mean, she's very smart, but she's somewhat introverted like her father. And she went to Juniata, a small college, which worked well for her. And she got a degree in psychology. She started for biopsychology, but then she ended up just going straight psychology. And when she got done, she hated it. She hated it. So she decided that she wanted to be a nurse. So she went and got herself a job as a nursing assistant and is in nursing school now, paying for everything herself and saving money in her 401k. Don't ask me how. As a nursing assistant. But she always had the passion to help people.
So here's the deal. There are essentially like 305 types of majors that are ranked for expected pay. And out of 305, where do you think psychology as a major ranks?
300?
It does. It's 300 to 301. Why? Because it's the easy way. It's kids making an easy decision. Oh, psychology. Well, that frankly is a very easy path that basically leads to nowhere unless you're going to go get a doctorate when it comes in terms of income. So the projected income of just psychology majors is very low. And I've heard so many stories of people who 4-year degree in psychology, they're working at the local gym as a receptionist, and they're depressed. And I say, what's the matter today? Well, I just spent 4 years in college. I studied psychology, and now I'm sitting here working here, and I got to figure out what I'm going to study next. So all of a sudden, that puts people on the 7-year plan. It works like your daughter can be with the nursing. It's just like doing nursing because you think, wow, that could be really fun. And then you do it for 3 years. And if you decide you don't like it, then you have to go back and do something totally different. Or people who say, hey, I want to be a teacher. That looks like fun. Well, by the time they're a junior in college and they have to start doing some teaching at the local schools, they go, geez, this isn't really what I had in mind. Well, now you got to go back and start something else. And all of a sudden, Elizabeth, these people are on 6-year plans or 7-year plans to get a meaningful college degree. So nobody budgets for that.
No.
Even for 10 years, criminal justice was the largest growing major of all. It also had the highest dropout rate of all. Everybody wanted to get into it because of CSI. Oh, doesn't this look fun? They get into it for a year or two and go, this isn't what I see on TV. No, of course it's not. It's much different than that. And then they wind up dropping out. So see, these people just living and operating and making decisions on the surface. They're never going any deeper than the surface. Oh, I'm going to do criminal justice because I like CSI.
Well, so Hans, do you have a success story from somebody that maybe you started working with 6 years ago?
I have I have many of them that are really, really great. One of them, I'm just going to say, his name is William. He's from the Bronx. Total family income of less than $15,000. Started working with him 6 years ago. After 4 years, he graduated a school in New York City for criminal justice. He is today a New York police officer, New York City police officer. He also played college baseball. He had 4 years of college baseball. And college cost less than $5,000 a year. He also has a motivational and inspirational blog. He does talks on personal motivation and inspiration. I have right now 15 poems of his that he sent me a week ago. He's entered a contest and he sent me 15 poems. So now he's a poet and I'm reviewing his poems. So here is a 25-year-old young man who came to me in 10th grade with no chance of anything. And he is one of my greatest young people of whom I've ever met. And what I would say is I have another tremendous young gal from Long Island who's at Duke and coming from, let's say, a wealthy family in Long Island. What I would love to do is put these two people in a room by themselves in front of 500 people or 100 people or 25 people. It doesn't matter. And what people will see are two fabulous, young, individual, unique beings that came from totally different backgrounds, but they're doing wonderful, beautiful things today.
That is amazing. And I just have to ask you, after hearing this, do you work with kids all across the country then?
I do. I work with kids around the country. I work with kids. I have a nice client base out of Ecuador, and I already had a call this morning with a young man out of Colombia, South America. So I work with people around the country and around the world who want to come to the United States for college, people who want to take ownership of their life and want want to own their outcomes. That's what they have to want to do, not leave their outcomes to the outside world of circumstances. But to follow my highly structured, Elizabeth, it's highly structured program to do this. And I can adapt anybody into this program of structure, because success starts with internal structure. So kids learn quickly from me that they have to adapt internal structure, getting up in the morning, going to bed at night, a daily routine, prioritizing their mind, things like that. They have to buy into that, because if you want to be successful in life, you have to be that way. And Elizabeth, there's only 1 out of 10 kids are that way to begin with.
Right. And I have to tell you, Hans, so my son, who I told you is very self-motivated and driven, took an organization class in 5th grade. They made him take it. So that was when we lived down in Atlanta. And that class became the basis for a lot of his success, I think.
So see, that's a great point. So I like to look at the high school class program of 9th through 12th grade, and let's see how these classes progress. And let's see, where do we have elective opportunities to plug in classes that can affect how we feel about a possible career or better prepare ourselves for college. So people might ask me if I'm going to start working with them, let's say in 9th grade or beginning of 10th, doesn't that seem too early? And I just ask one question. Once your kid is a sophomore in college, is it too early to start thinking about a job afterwards? Oh, no, of course not. Well, why would it be too early in 10th grade in high school to be thinking about the next phase of their life, which is college? I do want to share one other story, because it's a great story with you. And it's a different kind of success story. It's one of my favorites. The fellow's name is Guido. He was a decent student from Kingston, New York, and he was a decent baseball player. And I got him into Mount St. Mary's College, a nice small private college over in Newburgh, New York, and to play college baseball. And he knew the coach, and the coach liked him. But after 1 year, the academics didn't work, and he basically flunked out. That was really depressing for him and the family. So what to do next? Got to go to the community college. Well, after a year there, no good. He called me up one day, Elizabeth, at that point, and he said, Hans, my parents are about to kill me. What should I do? I said, sit down, Guido. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to do. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning, and you're going to drive up to Albany, and you're going to go meet a United States Air Force recruiter. And you're going to talk to them about joining the Air Force. You're not going to join tomorrow. You're going to discuss this with them. And tonight, you're going to just share with your parents. Just say, Mom and Dad, this is what my plan is tomorrow. I don't need your opinion on it right now. I just want to let you know that this is my plan. Well, 10 years later, he spent 6 years in the Air Force as an air traffic controller. He met his now wife. He got out of the service, and he is a full-time air traffic controller for the FAA. So he's making a lot of money. He has a beautiful family now of 4 kids living down in Abilene, Texas, and he is like one of the happiest people on the planet.
Well, to your point, I think college is a wonderful experience, and I would encourage everybody to go. But for some people, it just isn't going to work out. And when I was in college, I had a friend whose father wanted her to get that degree, and she just didn't want to. She didn't want to be there. And we had the same professor for this one class, and I looked at her test answers, and he just reamed on her. And I got an A in the class, and she ended up with like a D or something, and her answers weren't that far off from mine. But I think they could just sense that she didn't want to be there.
And part of the reason that still exists today, the high school curriculum is very much the same as it was when you and I went to school. And I went to school before you did, a little while before you. So it hasn't changed. And so kids today, for the most part, don't see relevance in the courses and in the classes. So they become disengaged. And I hear parents say, well, my kid doesn't like school. Well, it's not that they don't like to learn. We are humans like to learn. We do like to learn. Every day we like to learn something. But we don't like to learn non-essential, is what I call it now, or irrelevant material. Now, oftentimes that irrelevant material is algebra 2 or calculus. Well, if you're going to go into business, you don't need to know algebra 2 or calculus. A lot of that irrelevant might be biology and chemistry. Look, I wasn't going to go into science. Why do I understand why I need to know physics. I'm a golfer and stuff like that, and velocity and all these things, and airplanes taking off and all this stuff. Sure, I like to learn that, but I didn't see a point in chemistry as an example, contrary to what you did, and you saw relevance in that. Kids need to have different paths to choose as they go through high school, so that it's not one narrow path, and then you get to college and you have dozens of options. Why can't we start when they're young and have multiple options and then have options springing from those? If we did that, kids would be more engaged in school. So what happens is a lot of 18-year-olds, they don't want to go to college really, or they just want to go just for the fun of it. They want to go to get away. Those are not good reasons. There's a problem with having college start 2 or 3 months after a wild celebration, graduation celebration. Look what we just tackled the world. No, you didn't. You just graduated high school. You did what you were supposed to do for 17 years. That's all you did. So have a little fun, but no, you didn't really tackle anything. You're not ready yet necessarily to leap into the world of college. But our society says you have to. Our parents, we as parents, program that into them, that this is what you're going to do. So at 18 years old, they don't know what to study. They don't choose college for the right reasons. So Elizabeth, that's what I have to do. It has to be the right fit college, the right fit study, the right fit cost, and we have to get the right outcome on time. That takes a lot of work.
It does. And helping kids figure out what they really want to do with their lives takes a lot of work because they're young and they don't know. And they can pivot later in life if they want to, but you want to start them out with something that they're passionate about. And
they always have a passion inside of them. Every human being has a passion inside of them, regardless of their birth origin, regardless of the wealth position of the family. That's why I use the examples of William and Valerie, who come from totally different backgrounds, but they have the passion. And now we just have to bring it out. We have to be better parents, better mentors, better coaches, because we can't rely on the educational system. The educational system is not in place to do that. Colleges are not in place to do that. High schools certainly are not in place to do that. So families like to defer that job onto others. No, it's nobody else's job. It's our job. Sometimes we have to quit putting them on pedestals all the time, worried about them being upset once in a while, and teach them a little bit about structure, self-discipline, and a work ethic. Because that is what's going to allow them to thrive as a young adult. I think college is a 4-year transformational bridge. They need the 4 years. They're a kid, they're a teenager, they're 16 or 17 years old, 5 years away from playing Little League Baseball, let's just say, or youth soccer. And we want them to somehow be ready for this world to work and to earn an income by the time they're 23, 4, or 25. So we have to recognize as parents and coaches that there's a bridge here. Just getting them to college cannot be the goal. Too many parents just focus on, I got to get in there because I got to get the bumper sticker and put it on my car and show the world how great my child is. No, that's merely entering the front gate to that bridge. The time that they're in college is the time that they're on the bridge. The goal isn't even exiting. graduating college. That's merely exiting the back gate. The goal is, where do they land when they do that? What does the world look like? What are their opportunities? Because it's very predictable that 75 or 80% of them coming back home without jobs and with student debt.
Yeah.
I had to break that pattern.
Excellent. Is there anything else we need to say before we sign off?
Well, I think colleges are great. I think they're setting themselves up for failures that they're going to see right now with the COVID. We're going through a college tilt. Colleges have made a huge investment into student appeal for 20 years. Like your son just arrived at Virginia Tech, saw the football stadium, and said, I'm coming. That's not by accident. That's all by their design and their plan. So I'm going to leave you on this note. A UNC top official, UNC Chapel Hill top official a couple of weeks ago was interviewed, and she was asked, what's your biggest challenge today? She said, our biggest challenge is managing our anxieties. Now, everybody else would think that she'd say, oh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, money and kids and health. No, managing our anxieties, because we can't make good decisions when we're in a high anxiety situation. She said, secondly, we spent the last 20 years paying attention to the students. Now we've had to spend the last 3 months listening and hearing from the parents. By the way, we much prefer the students.
Of course.
What happened at UNC Chapel Hill? They brought everybody on campus, and in a matter of a day or two, they had to shut everything down. Now, all of that was predictable, but because of their anxiety, they couldn't make the decisions. Parents have the same feelings. They have anxiety over this. They just want to get their kid to college, just get them there. Well, that's not just the goal. That's not the plan. That's not a plan for success. So colleges now for the next 10 years will have to start paying much more attention to the market needs, the market demands of parents. Parents have to speak up, and parents have to take a stronger position. Parents have taken a weak position for the last 20 years, and they've paid a big price. Now it's time that we become bigger, better, stronger parents when it comes to our approach to college. My job is to change a person's approach to college.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Hans. So your website is mycollegelogic.com, and you work with parents and students, and you have so many success stories. I think people should check you out when their kids are in middle school even, right?
I also have a Facebook group called College Clarity. Everybody is welcome. It's a private group, but everybody is welcome. It's called College Clarity. And I talk about these subjects almost every day.
Excellent. Thank you.
I welcome everybody to join right in and join in on the conversation. It's not a conversation to be left in the closet. It's a conversation that has to come out.
Excellent.
I'm here to help you bring it out. And I love doing it. So thanks, Elizabeth.
Thanks.